seems to work much better here. All right. The microphone icon at your bottom left should be for talking, so that won't help. If you can't, All right, so hopefully that'll get that fixed. We're gonna go ahead and get started though. Today is Thursday. We're gonna look at freshwater biomes today. Before class, I emailed and Canvas messaged you a notes guide. If you open that and read it, it said that it's not mandatory, it's not something you're gonna turn in for a grade, but today there are a lot of new terms, a lot of vocabulary, and I thought you may like a little notes guide to kind of help you keep track of everything. Okay, that's for you if you would like to use it. Not required that you do, but we have a lot of vocabulary today and you may want to kind of keep track of everything since you do have a writing assignment today. And we'll go over that and I'll give you some time to work on that as well. So freshwater biomes, in the chat box, tell me what freshwater is. What is a freshwater biome? Freshwater. Freshwater is low or no salt, less than 1%. It's water that comes from things like a river or a stream, a pond, a lake. Our ocean would be salt water, so anything else is freshwater. We're going to talk about different kinds of freshwater. The first kind we're going to look at are ponds and lakes. Ponds and lakes are standing still, they're not moving. A still or standing body of water is called a lentic ecosystem, and that's at the top of that slide. Lentic means it's not moving, it's still. So a still body of water, like a pond or a lake, can be divided into 4 different zones. First in green is the littoral zone. That's the area right here. It's closest to the shore. That's the area where plants grow, or where plants can grow. Hey, if you step into the edge of a pond or a lake, there's usually some plants or water plants kind of right there. If you look at the edge of a pond, you can see lilies and little fish, those kinds of things right here in the littoral zone. For me, I remember that litter would wash up on the edge of the shore or the beach or the edge of the pond. Littoral zone. After that, the other 3 zones are out here in the deeper water. The top or surface water of a pond or a lake is the limnetic zone. This is where you would have a log floating, or you might stand if you're like water skiing across the lake, boats, those kinds of things, are in the limnetic or the top of the water. The euphotic zone is the area below the surface of the water, but there's still enough sunlight for photosynthesis to occur. The area below, underneath the water, but there's still enough sunlight there for photosynthesis to occur. And the very bottom, or the floor of a pond or lake, is the benthic zone. So for a lentic or still standing body of water, pond or lake, there are 4 different areas. Littoral, up here closer to the shore where water plants can grow. Limnetic is the surface of the deeper water. Euphotic is the area right below the earth's below the water surface, but there's still enough light there for photosynthesis. And then the benthic zone is the floor. Do you guys have questions about these? I know that's a lot of vocabulary right there together. And they'll review that in Canvas this week, some of your modules as well. I will post the recording after class, and you can also use that if you need to go back for this vocabulary. Oh, that's weird. Okay. So we did lentic, which is a still standing body of water, pond or a lake. The opposite of that is a lotic ecosystem, which has flowing water. That would be a stream or a river. For me, I remember that lotic, low, flow. They kind of rhyme. Okay. I think your computer actually says lotic. I say low so that I can remember it rhymes with flow. It's kind of silly, but it helps me keep them separate. So streams and rivers are flowing water. They're moving. But the plants and the animals are not going to be the same at every river or every stream. There's some different factors that influence what you're going to find there. First factor is the flow, or the amount of water and how fast or slow it moves. All right, this is you should be able to minimize this somehow. You may have to hit your escape key and then minimize it. And yes, I'm going to go over and give you time to work on your writing. So the slow-moving creek, awesome, thank you for helping her, guys. The slow-moving creek behind my house does not have the same plants or animals that a very large, fast-moving body of water like the Mississippi River is going to have. Okay, so a slow-moving or a fast-moving, that's going to determine what kind of animals and plants you have there. The amount of light it gets is also going to impact what types of plants grow there. If it's a really shady, small creek, kind of back in the woods, it's going to have different plants that are adapted to using less light versus a large river that's open and sunny all the time. The third factor that influences the plants and animals near a stream or a river is the temperature or the climate of the land. Okay, the bottom of the Mississippi River down in Mississippi is going to be very different than in the very top up north. Or if you have a river that has ice chunks in it or is even frozen over part of the year, it's going to be very different from the Amazon River down in the rainforest. Okay, so the types of plants and animals you're going to see depend a lot on the temperature or the climate of the land. The next thing is the chemistry. This is the geology of the area, the types of rocks, the types of soil, the types of nutrients. If you have a very rocky, more waterfall area, okay, like on the right-hand side, the animals in the stream, the animals and the plants are going to be very different than a long, winding river. So the plants depend a lot on the flow, the light, the temperature, and the chemistry of this river or stream. So we've looked at ponds and lakes, at the lentic or still standing ecosystem. We looked at streams and rivers, which are lotic or flowing. The last kind of part of an ecosystem we're going to look at are wetlands. Wetlands are saturated with water for most or part of the year. It might be year-round. It could just be flooded at certain times during the rainy season. They're near a lake or a river usually to kind of catch that overflow. They help prevent flooding because the water stays there instead of coming up to the houses or the businesses or the surrounding communities. Wetlands help to purify and filter our water, and they also have a large diversity of plants and animal species. Examples of wetlands are going to be bogs, swamps, marshes. You'll hear me a lot refer to the Okefenokee Swamp, okay, down in South Georgia, northern Florida. That's just because I live pretty close to there, about 30 miles away. So we go visit, and I've taken my kids to see the alligators and that kind of thing. But that's not the only one. That's just the one closest to me that I refer to more often. It looks more like this top picture. There's trees, there's plants, there's alligators. Okay, but all of these wetlands are a type of wetland or water ecosystem. Bogs, swamps, marshes. Okay, it's still standing water, but it's not a lake that would be there year-round. It may just appear at certain times during the rainy season, or if the lake's got too much water and it kind of floods over. Well, where'd my X go? There it goes. I don't know why it went away. Okay. So, and you can put this in the chat box, but don't put it in the chat to everyone. If you look right above where you type, it says to, and it's got a little drop-down menu. Send your chat to me privately. All right, don't put it in the entire chat for everybody. Just send it to me privately. True or false? Freshwater biomes with moving water are considered lotic or lotic ecosystems. Okay, send it to me in a private chat. True or false? So a freshwater biome with moving water is a lotic or lotic ecosystem. Okay, for me, I remember the lotic or lotic. If it's moving, it's flowing. Flow, flow. Okay, it's kind of silly, but it helps me keep them separate in my mind. Before I give you your assignment, I want to talk about a few quick facts about some of these freshwater biomes. The amount of rainfall that they get varies widely. Some wetlands only get about 7 inches of rain a year. Some could get over 100 inches. That's anywhere from half of a foot to 8.5 feet of rain a year. So it varies depending on where they're located. You heard me kind of use marshes and swamps as a wetland. Marshes do not have trees. A swamp is a wetland that does have trees and seasonal flooding. Again, the Okefenokee, you can take a boat ride back through the trees to see all of the deer and the alligators and the fish. But if you go during the summertime and it's been a hot, dry summer, the boat tours may not be open because the water level's lower. So you have to wait till we've had some rain and it's fairly wet for the water to be high enough for a boat. So it changes depending on the season. And there are trees in a swamp. A marsh does not have trees. Tidal swamps, you looked at those earlier this week, mangrove swamps, because mangrove trees can grow in the edges of the tide where the salt water and the fresh water mix. The largest lake in the world is the Caspian Sea. It's technically a lake, but we call it a sea because it is so very large. The Caspian Sea, because it's a lake, is completely surrounded by land, but it's the largest inland body of water between Europe and Asia. The longest river in the world is the Nile River. In the chat box, does anybody know where the Nile River is located? Yes, Sebastian said it's in Africa. Lauren told us that it starts in Egypt and then flows down from there. Actually, it flows up into Egypt, but starts in the north, comes down. Okay, in Africa. And the largest wetland in the world, swamp or marsh or bog, is the Pantanal in South America. You also have the bayous down in Mississippi. Would be more your, down to Lake Victoria in the south. You're correct, Sebastian. All right, so the Pantanal in South America is the world's largest tropical wetland region, mostly in Brazil and Bolivia and Paraguay. Okay. You don't have to remember where these are located, not really a geography lesson. I just want you to be aware that they exist, that there are areas outside of like the Okefenokee Swamp or the bayous down in Louisiana, that there are large areas throughout the world, okay? I want you to be aware they exist, and these will be some good examples that you might want to use in your constructed response, which is what I'm about to show you. Tonight, due by midnight at 11:59 for a grade, you have a writing assignment. To access this writing assignment, I'm going to show you how to get to it in Canvas. Okay, when you go to Canvas, on the left-hand side, go to Assignments. Let me know real quick in the chat box, guys. Can you guys see my Canvas? Yes, okay, good. So when you go to Canvas, and this is not any particular student, okay, this is just my test person. My test person has an upcoming assignment that says CR1, Constructed Response 1, Freshwater Biomes. It's due tonight at 11:59. Okay, if you turn it in tomorrow, I'm still going to grade it, and it's not going to count off. But just know that it's late. First week or two, I'm going to be more lenient on that. All right, so when you go to assignments, it may give you a little black or brown gray box. Yep, that's why I said I'm not going to penalize you if it's late. Okay, I will not penalize you if it's a few days late because I understand that we've been crazy and everything's kind of wacky this week. Once all the systems are working correctly and your calendars work and all of that, I'll be more strict on deadlines, but this week I'm not. So yours may, if you haven't accessed it yet, give you a little gray box that says click here to open it. All right, if you haven't accessed it yet, it may do it that way. When you go here and it looks like this in Writable, okay, it says 0 of 1. You haven't written your prompt yet, so it gives you a blue button that says write. It will look like this. Okay, I'm going to minimize my chat for a minute so you can see my whole screen. It gives you a topic. You are a freshwater marine biologist who's been contracted to visit an elementary school and explain freshwater biomes to the students. Choose at least one freshwater biome we discussed in class. Lake, river, stream, pond, marsh, swamp, bog, any of those we went over. Okay, you can do more than one if you would like, but at least one. And explain what you're going to tell the students about your chosen freshwater biome. You must provide a description of the biome and its importance to the biosphere. So what is it? What does it look like? Why is it important? I had a lot of people ask me how much you need to write. From everything you've gotten, and because you will be able to have access to these slides, and I'm going to send them out in a few minutes, and you will also be able to look up your information on different websites, I think you should at least be able to give me a good solid 8 to 10 sentence paragraph. You may do more, but at least one good solid paragraph, 8 to 10 sentences to cover everything. The information, I'm going to email you the slides that I'm using right now in just 1 second. You've also been working in Canvas this week, and that has lots of information in your modules. And you're going to be able to look up your information on Google or other websites, and I'm going to show you how to cite that. So if you look over here on the right-hand side, okay, where it says My Submission, this is the checklist that I'm going to use to grade it. So here's what I'm going to look for. All of your information is research, factual, and or tested. And do not just make up something off the top of your head. All right, make sure that you can back it up either from the PowerPoint, from Canvas, from the website that you find. You're going to choose words, information, and a writing style that reaches your target audience. Remember, your target audience is in elementary school, so make sure your words are something elementary school kids could understand. Cite credible sources and include links where helpful. Hey, if you reference something from Canvas or from the notes, you don't have to cite it. If you pull something from the internet, you need to cite it, and then at the bottom, give me your link. Please do not copy and paste straight off of another website. That's going to get you a 0 for plagiarism. All right, make sure that you use your own words. You included information about at least one freshwater biome. You can do more, but at least one. And you include a description of the biome's importance in the biosphere. So tell me what it is, what it looks like, what kind of animals live there, why it's important. After you've typed whatever it is you want to type, click this blue submit button right here. It'll ask you if you're sure, click submit. All right, then if you say, oh, look, I have a typo, you can click this blue button that says revise, and you can go back and add something. Just make sure after you change it or revise it, you click submit again. If you notice, when you go to assignments in Canvas, okay, there's not an option to submit in Canvas. You must submit right here in Writable for me to be able to grade it. Okay, you must submit it in Writable for me to grade it. So make sure you hit that blue submit button. Well, there it is. Okay. No, I don't really have a maximum. Okay, just make sure that you've covered all the information. Minimum at least one good solid, like 8 sentence paragraph. You can use the slides that I'm about to email. You can use your information in Canvas. You can also use Google and look up stuff. Just make sure you're using a reputable website. Let's see, we leave at 2:30. So I'm going to give you guys about 35 minutes to work on this. And I'll be here for your chat if you have questions, if you have problems, if you need help. Please leave your microphone on and kind of minimize me, because about 2:20, 2:25, I'm going to bring you back over and we'll wrap up before you leave and kind of talk about your homework. Okay, so if you do have to exit, if you can't do it any other way, come back at 2:20. Set you a timer to remember. And I'm going to set a timer in about 2:20. That'll give you 30 solid minutes to work, to come back and ask me questions, to get help, ask me for information, that kind of thing. At about 2:20, we'll wrap up, we'll talk about your homework, and I'll get you guys out of here on time. So take this time to work on your writing assignment. Let me know if you have questions or problems or you need help. All right, guys, if you come back over real quick, okay, minimize your writable or pause whatever you're doing. Come back real quick to our meeting and let's wrap up before you go. Your writing assignment is due tonight at midnight. I have to put a due date on there so it shows up on your calendar. I'll still accept these tomorrow or even Saturday. Okay? I know Jigsaw and Canvas and everything's been a little weird this week, but please make sure you get them completed. I emailed and Canvas messaged you the slides and the notes guide. And as soon as we wrap up here, I'm going to go ahead and post your recording maybe about 10 minutes or so after class ends, and I'll get your recording posted on Canvas as well. That way you can come back and review it. So today, finish your writing assignment. Then before class tomorrow, you can do it tonight, you can do it tomorrow morning, your homework in Canvas. Okay, find today's date. Today is the 22nd. Look at the modules for vocabulary and direct instruction. All right, you can do those today, you can do those tonight, you can do those sometime before class tomorrow. Find today's date, do the modules vocabulary and instruction. Otherwise, if you don't need me or you don't have any questions, you're free to go. Have a good rest of your day. I'm going to hang out here a few more minutes and answer those questions that you messaged me or any other questions you have.